This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Hello, and welcome to the SAU Report. I'm LaPatrick, Madison.
And I'm Shannon Watson. And today's guest is admissions counselor here at SAU, Sorronto Aubrey. Sorronto, would like to welcome you.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And I guess we'll start off with a few basic questions. Now, you recently graduated from SAU.
Yes.
And tell us, what made you choose to come to SAU as a high school student?
Well, both my parents attended Southern Arkansas University and graduated from here, and they both received a quality education here. And I knew I wanted to go to a school that was close to home, and that was one of my main reasons for coming here, is the location also that my parents had went to school here.
Okay.
Okay, now could you explain your recruitment process and which areas SAU recruits out of?
Well, my areas consist of Eastern Arkansas, Northern Louisiana, Houston Taylor, his area consists of Texas and Northern Louisiana, but like I said before, mine areas Eastern Arkansas and Northern Louisiana. And the furthest north I go is Brinkley. After that, it pretty much cuts off for me.
Okay.
All right. Well, to build on that, explain in great detail, if you can, your job in admissions counseling, what you're in charge of and what you do.
Okay, the main thing, admissions counselors, the thing that they do, we are recruiters for the university. We go out to high schools and talk to juniors and seniors to try to encourage them to come to school at Southern Arkansas University. In the beginning of the fall, we're on the road for a month and a half, and we go and attend college fairs and job fairs. And at the college fairs, there'll be other universities there, and the juniors and seniors will come in and go to each table that is set up, ask questions, receive information about each university, and fill out forms to find out, which one is, fits their needs. And at the job fairs, career fairs, you have universities as well as jobs and other occupations, and the students can go around and not only talk to the different colleges, but also find out a little bit about each job, each particular business that's there.
What is your day-to-day involvement?
Well, like I said, mainly I'm on the road a lot and visiting each school. After that, I come back to the office, and all the forms that I got filled out, I go through them, put them in order, turn them into the secretary, and then after that is done, have letters typed up, and I have to sign each one personally and have them mailed off to each high school student.
Okay, tell us about what training did it take for you to get this position?
Well, my major as an undergrad was sociology with a minor in marketing. A lot of people wonder, like, okay, how can you get a combination like that? Sociology is the study of human behavior, marketing dealing with selling. So basically, I'm trying to sell SAU to these students,
Right.
trying to put in their mind everything so that'll be the university of their choice. And the basic skill that you need to have is to be a people's person, and that's what I am. That's my personality. I don't like being stuck in an office for 8-9 hours a day. I like to get out, move around, and actually talk to people, not just receive emails. I like want to be there in person.
One-on-one.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What's the hardest part in recruiting? Say if you had a student from around where I'm from, around the Austin area, Central Texas, how would you talk to them and recruit them to get to SAU?
Well, what I do, especially when I go to places that never really heard of Southern Arkansas University, I will tell them about the advantages of coming to this university, especially when I'm in competition with larger universities like Duke and those top 10, top 25 schools you see on ESPN all the time. What I'll do, I will tell them, first of all, you're more than just a number, because at those schools you'll just be another Social Security number. Here it's more of a family environment. The teachers,
a smaller environment. Right.
The teachers will know you on a first and last name basis, and after you take their class, they will still keep in contact with you to see if everything's going good for you, and if you have any problems, you can come to them and tell them about what schools are like ranked in the nation. For instance, our School of Business is considered one of the top school of business in the nation. And as an undergrad, I was a member of SIFE, which is Students in Free Enterprise. And pretty much every competition we went to, if we didn't win it, we got no lower than third place.
Well, building on that, could you tell us some of the activities you were involved in while you were a student here?
Well, as an undergrad, I kind of started off kind of slow. I was basically getting a feel for the school as far as the academics and everything. And once I got that down, I started to pay a lot of attention to different Greek fraternities on campus. And was kind of feeling them and wanted to be a part of one. So I checked them all out, and after doing so, I wanted to become a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, which I became a member in spring '98. And after I became a member, I was vice president of the organization and became very active on campus. On campus, I was vice president of IGC, which is the Inter-Greek Council, which consists of all the Greek organizations on campus. And I did that for about a semester or so, and then I was promoted. Well, I did that for a semester. The second semester, the president had to step down because she was pregnant, so that might have an effect. So after that, I was automatically put into the president position. And by the end of that year, they had elections, and I was elected to be the president for the following year, which was my senior year.
Right.
And while doing that, I tried to do some things that other presidents haven't done before. One of the things that I did was attempt to have like a fundraiser to raise money for Habitat for Humanity, and I also put the word out there about the program and what it was dealing with to get other Greek organizations involved. To Greeks have, and I always have a negative stereotype saying that all they ever do is party and drink.
House.
Exactly, and that's one of the things I would like to end that little stereotype. Just know that our main purpose is community service, become active in the community and do positive things for the community. And that's one of the things that I try to strive for and accomplish as the president of the Inter-Greek Council.
Okay. Being an active Greek, do you talk to the new recruits about Greek life also, or you just talk to them about regular life at SAU?
I mainly focus on academics. Now, when they start to ask about extracurricular activity and they mention it, well, I go into detail and let them know that I talk about the Greeks and everything. And then if they ask me if I'm a member of an organization, then I expand a little bit on me being Greek and what all it done for me as an undergrad and how it helped me after I graduated, to get a job and get to where I'm at right now.
Okay. And when did you graduate from SAU? I
graduated in spring of 2001.
Okay. How does it feel being the youngest employee in your office?
It feels great. I'm a lot of the people that are around me. They helped me out a lot because when I came in, a lot of people were getting promoted as I got hired. So they were trying to learn their new position and get it down and everything, get trained for their position. So basically, I took it upon myself to find out information that I need to know about my position by asking the person before me that had the position, go to her and ask questions about it, and went on to ask other people about different little stuff to help me out instead of waiting around like, well, maybe once they get in, then I can get started. So I just came in, hit the ground running.
Did you have another job or occupation in mind before you chose this one? Or?
Yes, I first applied for DHS, which is Department of Human Services in El Dorado, Arkansas,
okay.
And I was interviewed by them first, and after that interview, I was interviewed by Southern Arkansas University. So basically, I was at home, like whichever one calls me first, that's where I'm going. But I really wanted to work for SAU because I like the environment. I know the people, they knew me. And that's what I really want to do. And less stress, of course, because DHS, there's a lot of stress involved with that, especially working with the kids and getting attached to them and them being placed in situations that you disagree with and you, like I said, becoming emotionally involved. So I would rather prefer a job like this where I'm basically going out there trying to promote positive things and encourage people to continue their education.
Plus, it's less of a drive for you, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Sounds like you like your job. Now, when you go home, do you ever sometime recruit kids from your hometown? Or?
Well, of course. Like I said, I graduated from Mount Holly High School, which is about 15 minutes from here, and a lot of people, they remember me and they know me, and they see the things that I have accomplished and see what SAU has done for me. And I mean, I don't have to tell them because they see it. Because, you know, I'm a firm believer that actions speak louder than words. And I'd rather you go off my actions than stuff I tell you.
That's good. Now, traditionally, the college degree is achieved in 4 years, but as the three of us can probably attest to, it might take more than 4 years. Do you think that it's harder these days to get a degree in 4 years? I mean,
I stress to everyone, everybody has their own time as far as graduating. You're not competing against anybody but yourself.
Right.
So take your time and do what you need to do to graduate, because you will not graduate in 4 years. On average, it will be 5 to 5.5, you know, before you graduate. I tell it to anybody, you will not, because I didn't graduate in 4 years. You know, I'm not embarrassed about it because I stuck with it.
Right.
And I was never placed on academic probation or anything, and I did what I had to do. I got my degree. So I would tell people, don't really stress on the issue of trying to get out in 4 years. You know, just take your time, take the classes that you need to take. Think about what you really want to become, because you want a job. Of course, you want a job that pays good money, but which one would you rather have? A job that pays good money that you dislike, or a job that pays a little less but you really love?
right. Well, speaking of which, do you think it's, when you graduate, normally you want to get a job in your degree. Do you think it's easier to get a job in your degree, or for some people, they get a degree and get a job that's totally different from that? Is it realistically easier to get a job in your degree, or is it just?
It depends. It's like this. When you go to school, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
And if you use your resources, it's a possibility that you can get a job in your field, but 9 times out of 10, you won't start off with a job in your field. Now, what I try to tell people is to go get a job, period. If it's not in your field or not, and while you're working at that job, you can focus on getting a job that's in your field, but just don't, I can't get a job in my field, so I'm just going to sit around and wait, you know, because sitting around and waiting doesn't pay the bills. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Does not pay the bills at all.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Now, I'm a transfer student. I transferred from Carlisle State College in Oklahoma and East Texas Baptist in Marshall, Texas. How do you approach a transfer student as far as recruiting?
Right.
Well, that's a department that I don't really work with. We have it's 3 of us that are admissions counselor. 2 of us do the high school recruitings, then the 3rd does the transfer students. But whenever I'm asked that question, sometimes I'm placed in a situation where I have to talk to a transfer student, and I would try my best to answer that question. And if I can't answer the question, I'll let them know I'm really not for sure on that particular question. But once I go back to university, if you call my 1-800 number, I can find out the answer for you to let them know. I mean, just because I don't know it now doesn't mean I can't find out for them later on.
Okay. And you said earlier about you hold fairs and you know you go to different places about that. What means would you take if say you had a student that didn't have the finances to go to the places or go out of town? How would you get the information out to them to get them to attend SAU?
Well, what we do, majority of times when we have these college fairs, a lot of the high school counselors come along, and we have packets set up for the high school counselors. And we will give that information to the high school counselor, and for those who didn't make it, they can get that same information from the high school counselor, which also in the packet, your business card is in there. So my business card will be in there, and it will have a 1-800 number. And if that student comes to that counselor and has a question that the counselor can't answer, they can call that 1-800 number, and I'll be more than happy to answer the question for them.
Okay.
Now, when you were a senior in high school, you talked about coming to SAU as being sort of a tradition. What recruitment techniques were used with you? Did they offer anything, or how did they?
Well, really with me, they didn't have to do too much because, like I said, both my parents attended Southern Arkansas University, and I, based off the things they experienced and the education that they received, I already knew that SAU would be the university that I would go to after I graduate from high school.
Did they send you a lot of letters, phone
Yeah,
calls?
after I took the ACT test and let them know that I was interested in coming to SAU, they would send me a lot of information about the university and different scholarships and all the things they had to offer, and let me know about the finances, how much it's going to cost, and different forms of financial aid that I had to go through. So they did send me a lot of paperwork, a lot of information about the university.
Okay.
You've been very active in SAU. When you started participating with the Greek fraternities, how did things change? Did you have more time to recruit, or did it kind of balance out, or
As an undergrad or
as an undergrad?
as an undergrad. Well, I've never had a problem with balancing my time. First thing is academics. After I finished my academics, then I would go on to the next thing. If my fraternity had a meeting, I would do that. If any other organization that I was affiliated with on campus, I went ahead and did that, because each one had a set time. You knew the time you had to be there, therefore you knew the work you had to do beforehand. So I would go ahead and try to get that out of the way, or have time set aside where I knew I could do my work, so I can have the rest of the time to attend these meetings.
Well, for any incoming freshmen, what would you suggest, say, if they want to be involved in activities and if they want to do stuff, how would you suggest the pacing? What would you suggest to them?
Well, coming in your first semester, I try to tell them basically get a feel of the university, focus on academics. If you're wanting to become active in other organizations or extracurricular activities, check them all out first. Just don't jump in and go from there, because 9 times out of 10, when you jump in head first, you end up forgetting that your main purpose for being here is academics, and you might fall below that level grade-wise that you normally are not accustomed to.
Right.
So I tell them to take their time, get in, get a feel of the university. If you're thinking about becoming Greek, I advise people to wait till their sophomore year, because I did my junior year. I waited till my junior
Definitely.
year, but I try to tell people to wait till their sophomore year, because by that time they have a feel of the university. They will also know what organization they really want to become part of, because they want to do it, and they can go from there.
Okay. When I attended East Texas Baptist, I was a part of Students in Free Enterprise, and you said that you were a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
How did that help you with just pursuing after you got your degree?
Well, like I said before, marketing is dealing with selling. You have to be able to speak in front of people. You have to be a people's person. You communicate on all levels, and that's what it did. It enhanced it, because I already had the ability to do it, because as a youngster, my father always had me doing things in front of the church congregation,
okay,
or things dealing with high school. I was always a person that had to get in front of people and talk. So I was pretty much taught the foundation as a young age. But once I came here, it polished it up more. It gave more of a business side to it. More professional look to it.
Yeah. Are you still active with Students in Free Enterprise?
No, I'm not, because like I said, I'm on the road so much, so it's hard for me to do other things. But I'm still active with my undergrad brothers in the fraternity. I'm now a member of the alumni chapter,
okay,
but I'm also active in helping with the undergrad members as far as being their junior advisor.
All right. Now, the campus activities, are you still involved in, like, say, Mule Rider Roundup? Are you involved in more of a capacity now? Or?
Well, I started after they did the Mule Rider Roundup this year. Maybe next year I would probably have a role in it, because my last year I did do the Mule Rider Roundup. Right. I participated in that, so I'm experienced to do it, and I work here, so I'm sure probably next year they'll probably have me involved in doing something dealing with the Mule Rider Roundup.
That's cool. Okay. And do you think that SAU, like, say, has enough, because you were talking about bigger schools,
Mm-hmm.
and they say they sometimes have, like, say, like big musical acts come or big things like that come. Are you involved in, say, recruiting, entertainment, or other activities to come to SAU? Do you have anything to do with that?
Not really, but some of the other employees out here that do things like that, as far as recruiting to get bands to come or some form of entertainment. Sometimes they'll come to me and ask my opinion about it, and I can give them my opinion. But as far as having a real hands-on thing dealing with it, I don't. But I do tend to voice my opinion towards those who actually go out there and do the recruiting and bring this form of entertainment to the university.
Do you think that SAU does a good job currently of getting what we get? I mean, considering,
Each year it's increased, it's doing better each year. And this year, in February, there's supposed to be a jazz group that's supposed to come perform during Black History Month. And I was asked about it earlier this semester, what my opinion was about it and everything. And I said, I think that was a pretty good idea, go ahead and do it and everything. And now it's going to happen, and I believe, it's like I said, it's in February during Black History Month.
because we did get to meet the original Batman.
Yeah,
Adam West.
yeah.
That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
we did that.
Okay, this is a little off the subject, but how do you feel about the community relation with SAU as far as recruiting, and do you think it can be improved, and if so, how would you improve it, say, if you were given that position?
Well, like I said, as being Greek as an undergrad, of course, I was consistently in the community, and I think that was one of the things that helped me get my position, because I'm well known in the community, not just from being Greek, but from different church functions. I mean, I'm well known. Okay. And of course, everything can be improved. There's nothing that's perfect. And the ways to improve it, I say, would be, get out there, do more. When I say do more, go out there, talk to them a little bit more than you normally would do it. Just being seen in a positive way, more positive ways is another way to improve it, and to get more feedback and get more people, catch more students' attention as far as coming to school at Southern Arkansas University.
Okay. Do you normally deal with just students who would be incoming freshmen, or do you deal with all of the students as far as high school goes? Well, underclassmen.
Yeah, I 10th, 11th grade, 12th grade. This past week, I went to a college fair that was in Arkadelphia on the campus of OBU, and they had 8th through 12th grade. So I was talking to junior high, as well as the high school students, which was a very interesting thing. It kind of rushed my table. I want to fill out one. Do you know what you're filling out?
Like slow down.
Yeah, like slow down a little bit. But yes, I talk 10th, 11th, 12th graders. Mm-hmm.
All right. And tell us about your training to become a freshman advisor.
Okay, that is one of the other duties that I will eventually learn how to do, because right now I'm mainly recruiting and doing that, but eventually they're going to show me how to become a freshman advisor as far as going to the computer, using different systems and setups to get them in the school, and also the academic scholarships. They're going to train me how to go in and check scores and put it in. As far as if they're getting a scholarship, they'll know beforehand, or I will know. Mm-hmm. So all I have to do is basically just put it in the computer to make it official.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In recruiting, do you emphasize the fact that incoming freshmen need to take all the placement tests, the SAT, the ACT, and start taking the PSAT beforehand?
When I go to these college fairs and everything, the first thing I ask them is, have you started taking the ACT test? And some like say yes, some say no, and I said, you guys need to take that test as many times as possible, because I tell them from my experience, I wasted my senior year, and I should have started taking tests in the 10th grade. Yeah. At least one time in the 10th grade, take it like 2 or 3 times your junior year, and by the time you become a senior, you can get that score that you need to make on the test to get into the university and get the scholarships that you're looking for. So that's something that I emphasize a lot, and another thing that I do that I think other recruiters from other universities don't, they mainly focus on come to my school, come to my school, come to my school. What I tell them, of course, I want you to come to SAU. I'm trying to get you to come to SAU, but continue your education. That's the main thing. Once you graduate from high school, just don't stop there, because it takes more than a high school diploma to make it these days.
Right.
And it's getting to the point where you're going to need more than a 4-year degree to make it. So I try to really emphasize continue your education. Even if it's not SAU, please continue your education.
Right. What advice or suggestions would you give to a senior in high school who maybe doesn't have all the right requirements for college, like for scholarships and stuff?
Well, another thing that I emphasize is money should never be an issue. If you want to go to school, you can get in school, because there are so many forms of scholarships and Pell Grants out there that you can get. And I give them a list of the scholarships and forms of financial aid that Southern Arkansas University has to offer, but I also tell them to get on the internet. There's other scholarships and forms of financial aid that we might not offer, but it's out there for you to get. Like, there's free money that you don't have to pay back. So I really try to get them to check into that, because money should never be an issue. If you want to go to school, you can go to school.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this has been very interesting. We'd like to thank you, Sorronto, for being here and helping us out. And for the SAU Report, I'm Shannon Watson.
And I'm LaPatrick Madison.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.